And right there.
Got it.
Awesome. There we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Shane, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. First off, let's get an analysis of the beard. We got the beard going on for hunting season.
Yeah.
Everything feeling a little toasty over there. That's you got some good growth going on.
I know it grows pretty quick. I guess because I'm old now, so now it really kind of takes off. But yeah, so hi Mike, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes,
Um,
indeed, indeed.
the growth
But
is coming along. My wife has reminded me daily that it's probably time for it to go. So we will see how long I can endure the pressure.
indeed, but not yet, not until you get that trophy buck, right?
It's always the goal.
Right. Yes. Because I understand you've got it's maybe not a trophy buck, but you've got one in the house already. Let's
Yes,
let's
my
let's hear about
14-year-old son shot his first buck, and so on the youth hunt, and so that was an experience, and so he's got his first one under his belt, and pretty excited. It's kind of a small buck, but he asked me to get a full head mount, and I thought probably not yet. He said maybe
that.
we could do a European mount, but a full head mount probably isn't in the cards at this point.
Yeah.
We'll wait
Yeah.
for an appropriate buck to mount.
Yeah. You want something worthy of that on the back wall there behind you. I mean, yeah. It's still something to remember, but yeah, as
Absolutely.
long as you can have a little piece of it for future reference, I would say you're good. But we'll wait for the full big majestic one there on the wall behind you one
You
day.
know, about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I had an opportunity, and I had
Mm-hmm.
my cell phone in one hand and my bow in the other hand, and my friend was texting me, and I was texting with my thumb, and I looked to the left, and I was like, "Oh boy!" The big buck was standing there, and I've got not. I wasn't ready.
Oh
I missed my
no!
opportunity. So I had an
Yes.
opportunity, and the cell phone and kind of
What?
diverted my attention to away from what I should have been doing, and
Yeah. What makes that even worse is it was technology that in 1998 there would have been absolutely no chance for that one, right?
none at all. But I
Oh
at least had an opportunity, and
yes.
it was my own doing why I did not complete my task.
Indeed. Well, we'll see. We'll check in again in a couple of months to see what has happened. Of course, Orange Friday coming up not too far away now. But what's even closer and what might even be more importantly on the top of your mind these days is what's coming up a few weeks before that. November 8th is going to be election day, and I'm
Correct.
sure you being a former municipal clerk, you've got this all down pat, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about elections and the people running the elections, and hopefully, my goal always was that there was no problems or any questions, or our poll workers in the city. I'll speak for Rapids, do amazing work, and they're all there. Everybody wants to make sure that the work that's being done that day doesn't come into question, and because that's a personally reflects upon them because they are the ones responsible for running the elections those days, because that's what we want, the people to oversee our elections. And yeah, so we've got amazing workers here, and we have a great volunteer. They get paid, but we have a great base of election workers, and yeah, it's coming right around the corner.
Yeah, indeed. And you brought up a really great point there. First off, that you don't want anything to come into question as far as the
No,
results go. And from what at least I've observed, we haven't ever really had anything like that coming out of Wisconsin Rapids. So I've got to think that you've got a pretty good process of auditing the poll books down to make sure that the number of votes cast is equal to the number of people that came through every day, because that's really your first line of defense to making sure
absolutely.
it's an accurate count.
Yep, and our clerk Jennifer Gossick's in charge of kind of validating the results, or not the result, but the balancing the books with the number of ballots cast. And yeah, it's a very important part of the aspect to make sure you have the same number of voters with the number of ballots, and that's the checks and balance there. And sometimes there could be a clerical error, which you could spend a week trying to find that one error, but that's the goal. It needs to be they need to match, or you have to have a very clear reason why they don't match. And sometimes there's one or two that just kind of throw you off, but you never see hundreds or thousands or anything like that. At
Indeed.
least in
And that,
Rapids, I can't speak for anywhere else in the world, but Rapids, we try to make sure that they come in pretty even.
yeah, indeed. And I understand as well, there's been some different guidances as well from the Wisconsin Elections
Mm-hmm.
Commission coming up here. I know there was one that the commission deadlocked on regarding poll workers as well. So, what has been kind of your message to the clerk and to the election workers, or the election observers, I should say, coming up in the next few weeks as to how to run things and how to make sure everything goes smoothly?
Well, I guess we're kind of unique in our community that our clerk is elected, so she is the one ultimately responsible. I can talk to her, but she doesn't need to do anything that I tell her to do, and so which she kind of has some autonomy, which I think is good. I want our clerk to be not beholden to any elected official, and so she's beholden to the voters and accountable to them, which I think is my opinion as a former clerk. For me, I thought that was the best way to handle that process. So yeah, she's staying busy trying to keep on top of everything, talking with other clerks, talking with the state, and make sure all that's taken care of. Throughout the years, we've always had, when I was a clerk, we've had election observers, and it was always a good thing because I think if people have questions or concerns, that's one way to kind of oversee and come check it out, or even more so if you're worried that there's a problem, put your name in a hat to be an election worker and be part of that process. And you can it'll help legitimize what they're doing. And there's a process to it. It's just not kind of a haphazard type thing. And I always recommend. We've got people in the city here that take a vacation day at work to work election day, and so you got to be impressed with that they feel that strongly about it.
Yeah, indeed. And you brought up another great point there. If you think something, or if you want to see how it goes from the inside, indeed, sign up, be a poll worker, be a poll watcher
Yep.
that day. And you can really get a sense that this isn't just shoving all those ballots through a Scantron reader,
Mm-hmm.
printing out a receipt tape, and then, going home at
Right.
11:30 or so at night.
Yeah, there's quite the process, especially after the polls, going through everything and making sure everything balances and securing everything just in case there's a recount or there's questions. Everything has to be secured in security envelopes and bags. And there's a process involved in it. And it continues on within that week after the election because everybody has to verify results at the county level and then through the state. And I don't know, I think Wisconsin does a pretty good job.
Indeed. So then before we move on, then for residents that are starting to make their plans to vote, maybe they're doing so absentee. In fact, maybe I know some people have ballots in hand already. What's the best way that they can plan to get those ballots back to the city to make sure that they're counted?
You have to personally return your own ballot. I believe that was the last ruling. There used to be you could return your spouse's ballot, but I guess you need to make sure you return your own ballot in person. You can use the mail. Hopefully, make sure you mail it soon enough to make sure it arrives at the clerk's office on time. And October 25th, I believe, is when you can start in-person absentee ballot. So if you have concerns about the mail or anything like that, you can come in and vote by absentee ballots. And then obviously election day is the election day, and you can cast your vote on that day too.
Indeed. So we'll look forward to seeing where this all goes. I know it's going to be a late night for me, but me
Oh
as
yeah.
a metrics guy, as a numbers guy, I love watching this stuff come in and seeing which results swing the race and things like that. It's a great night for me. Chances are I might be here by myself until about 1 or 2 a.m. But hey, it's fun for me to watch as well.
Well,
It's
it's,
part of the reason
it's amazing
I do this.
if you watch I watch the county's website because they update, the county clerk update. Well, I believe our results are modem in and then they're updated on the website. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
kind of fun to watch because you're watching to see which municipalities are in and how quickly an election can change by, all of a sudden Wisconsin Rapids dumps their results in and it could totally go a different way. And so, yeah, it's
Indeed.
kind of interesting to watch to see what happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll look forward to seeing that. What's going to be a very interesting night on November 8th, to say the least. One more thing before we let you go. Something that you actually educated me on just before we started this. You have a proclamation in the city regarding white canes. Tell us what this is, because it's not a cane that you put on a Christmas tree for sure.
No, it isn't. And I really didn't know a lot about it until a young lady asked to meet with me, and she came in, and she's visually impaired. She can't see very far at all. And she also informed me that she's in the line to get a dog, so to help her. But in the meantime, she uses a cane, and there is a law out there. And October 15th is the day that is White Cane Day, and it's all about making sure people realize that there are people that are visually impaired that are out there, and a white cane with red markings on it. And her big request is that people be aware of that, because she's had several close calls on getting hit, and she knows other people that are visually impaired that have been struck by vehicles. And it's really a day to help make people aware that there are people out there that are visually impaired that are still using the sidewalks, crossing the streets. So just be aware of a white cane, and yield to them, and let them have the
Mhm.
right of way, and let them get across the street.
Yeah. So outside, I guess, then of making people aware of it in this forum, or just making a proclamation at City Hall, then is this going to spurn any action in the city? Does this mean better infrastructure at intersections to allow these people to cross the street safely? Does it mean more signage in the city? Do you see this going anywhere?
I think this has always been around, and the state law has been here, always around. And it's more so just keeping people aware that people with white canes are visually impaired, and they do need to be yielded the right of way. I think the infrastructure, the corners are set up. It's just educating the people in vehicles that they can't see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and making sure that people even know that what I call at the sidewalk the Lego, that actually serves a purpose, because it's a textured surface that they could run the cane over, and if they feel that the cane is bumping, they know that directly ahead of them, is an intersection, and they
Yeah.
need to be aware of that. So I call it the Lego because it looks like the top of a Lego brick, but I know there's a different term for it. But even something that I've learned in the last few years, that there is a reason for that, and that does need to be cleared out in the winter so that the texture stays there and can let people know that the intersection is ahead.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, and I'm always impressed when I see people, especially with a dog, how confident they are out walking around, even though they're visually impaired, how much they trust that animal, and to guide them to where they need to go. And yeah, and I think that's sometimes people, I think, take that for granted, because they are they respond just like they're not visually impaired. And it could be, as a motor vehicle, so you may take that a little bit for granted, that that person is visually impaired with a dog. And but yeah, it's impressive to see that, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could ever feel that confident, with a blindfold, and put a blindfold on, and
No
take a
kidding.
dog for a walk.
No kidding.
I
Indeed.
It impresses me. And then this young lady I talked to, she enjoys her freedom. I know she works at a retail store in the community, and she's out there, and she enjoys her freedom, and be able to walk to work. And but she is scared. She definitely
Mm-hmm.
is scared.
Indeed. Well, we always appreciate the time, Mayor Shane. I'm sure the next time we get together, we'll be deep into budgets, and hopefully we'll have some more hunting stories to share as well.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Indeed. We always appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Sounds good, Mike. Thanks.